Hi, my name is Jelinek, and I am a life coach and a best-selling author, and I channel for a group called Athena in Truth.
What is the soul?
The soul is the culmination of everything that you have ever lived, of experience and lineage. Everything really that you have been exposed to as a human has culminated together and created this larger, grander aspect of you in the divine.
Is a soul born? Does a soul die?
Yes, a soul is created, and then no, a soul doesn't die. You are an eternal being, so once you are expressing yourself, whether it be here on the earth or in another plane of existence, you are eternal, and you will continue to do that throughout eternity.
What's the difference between a young soul and an old soul?
The main difference is the amount of experience that that soul has had. You are living many simultaneous lives at the same time that you are expressing, even in the life that you are here as a human. So dependent on where your focus is at any given time would determine that growth or expansion of you as a soul. So the more that you engage in physical experiences and learning, the more advanced your soul becomes.
What is the soul's relation to Source/God?
The best way that you can get the full flow of the divine is through the love of self, through the acceptance that you are a human experiencing yourself, and that the emotions that you are going through are going to cause you to feel in certain ways. The less that you can attach to those ways, especially if they are in negativity, the better chance that you have in opening the flow or allowing the flow into yourself. Unfortunately, when humans are going through their life, they feel as though certain emotions are deemed as good and bad or right and wrong. And this kind of condemnation actually constricts the field, and this is where you disallow the natural flow of the divine from entering into you.
Mind, body, or soul? Which is the real us?
The soul is the real you. Of course, you have the body, the physical apparatus that is being used as a tool to express when you are in your experience. And then you have the mind that is capable of learning and accumulating data, thoughts, perceptions. But the real aspect of you that has experienced everything, many lifetimes, not just the one that you're in, but and many other existences prior to that, that is the real you.
Are human incarnations voluntarily chosen?
No one is here against their will. Everyone has free will. You can decide at any time to withdraw from the experience you're in or to go into an experience, and that is always 100% up to you as the experiencer.
What's the purpose of life on the physical plane?
The whole purpose of life on the physical plane is for the divine part of you or the universe as a whole to expand by thought, by feelings, by what it is that you are experiencing. The universe really does want to satisfy you in all that you want to know and learn because it is an expanding, ever-growing thing. So to really grasp that concept that you have come here to know more, you have come here to continue your growth and expansion, and in your growth and expansion, the whole also expands.
Why would a soul choose to leave heaven?
There really is a wonderful feeling for the soul aspect to enter into a physical experience and have the senses. Many people talk about the suffering, but of course there are so many beautiful and wonderful things that you can experience in being in a body, in actually feeling and loving and sensing everything. So that would be the main reason there is a remembering of what it felt like to feel.
Many people experience challenges while living in a body. Does the soul seek such challenges? And if so, why?
The soul very much does seek expansion and growth through challenging opportunities in its life, but it doesn't make it any easier. A human doesn't really realize at the time that they can't get to where they want to go in the feeling that they're not wanting to have. So in some sense, a recognition has to come where you realize that the way you feel is creating the reality that you are finding yourself in. And if you hate the reality that you are in, you will just continue to create something that perhaps isn't to your liking.
Do souls have more than one incarnation, either on Earth or elsewhere?
Yes, souls have a multiple of expressions at one time. They can be in physical form or not in physical form. And it would be largely dependent on level of satisfaction. And what I mean by that is if a soul is experiencing itself as a human and not finding that completely fulfilling and satisfying, it may seek expression in other ways in other galaxies.
Does a soul plan its incarnations ahead of time?
Yes, the soul does plan its incarnations ahead of time, but it does have the choice of free will, where you can decide as you are living your experience whether or not it is satisfying to you or not. We've talked before in recordings about people deciding how they feel in their experience is actually influencing the next life that they will live. So you always have full control by the way that you feel. If you're living in an experience that's not satisfying to you, the universe is receiving you that and culminating experiences for upcoming lifetimes that perhaps will satisfy you.
Do we have soul groups that we incarnate with across different lifetimes?
Absolutely, you are incarnating with souls that you have done other lifetimes with. Some of those experiences might be quite satisfying, and some might be dissatisfying based upon what it is that you want to reveal to yourself about what you are holding in the form of emotion. The energy centers that are a part of a human's field, or the chakras, are carrying from one lifetime to the next all of the emotive value that the human has experienced in this lifetime and many others. So there becomes a point where a human wants to make full connection or allow the full flow of the divine to enter into themselves. And the best way that they can do that is to remove those entrapments or the energy that has been built up in them from one lifetime to another. So in the choosing of those that they interact with, that would be a stimulant or something that would mirror back to them what they are holding so that they could let go of that and actually open their field and allow in that very natural flow of the divine that would automatically come in if they had not hung on to something from one lifetime to the next.
Are there contracts or agreements between souls?
Many humans will ask if there are contracts or agreements, but really what there are interactions through emotions, basically, that are attracting your experiences to you. So if you want to call that a contract or an agreement, but really you are agreeing in the way that you feel, that's what's making you a match to the experiences that you are experiencing.
Do spirit guides or angels assist us?
Some people are very surprised when we talk about spirit guides or the angelic realms or deities, anything of this nature. Everything that is existing is a creation. It's something that you love, that you put your focus on, your attention on, and therefore a stream of consciousness is created by that because you are a creator. As in your love of it, in your connection to it, and in your desire to have it be so, you enter into that creation or that stream of consciousness that then is available to you.
What is death?
In my mind, death doesn't really exist because you are a continuum. It is the end of the human vessel, but it is not the end of the soul aspect of yourself.
After death, do souls return to visit loved ones still on Earth?
I think most of you would be very surprised to know how close your past loved ones are and that they have the ability to perceive you at all times in your life. A lot of people will be concerned if someone passes and maybe they didn't reconcile something with them. And I would assure you that there is a full knowing, a full understanding that when one transitions, that's known to them. They are as much actively a part of your life as they were when they were living. Grief seems to be the natural response when someone loses someone, and it is such a heavy and thick emotion that a human doesn't really like to feel it. And oftentimes, others don't really even want to be around people who are stuck in grief because they're afraid of feeling it as well. They'd like to get away from it. Once again, it's about loving the emotions that you've chosen. Grief comes upon a human in the perception that love has been lost, that somehow something has been taken from them that could never be replaced. A human doesn't realize in its human form that it is love, that it is the source of all of that culmination of love that is emanating through them. So it's just very good to understand that you're always choosing how you feel. And whatever it is that you feel, you have to accept it. You have to embrace it. You have to love yourself in it. You can't run away from it or try to make it different than what it is. I would say this is one of the biggest problems that people go through, especially when they've been in grief for a while. Well, it's been 6 months, or it's been 8 months, or 2 years. They start to decide that it's too long and that they should be feeling better. And this is not allowing yourself to, in your free will, express to the divine how it is that you feel in your experience. So my advice to you would be to allow yourself and love yourself in all that you feel until you no longer feel it.
What is the veil of forgetting and why do we need it?
Every time you come in as an experiencer, you're coming in fresh or with a new perspective or view. Based upon what you brought with you, you will culminate new experiences to enhance your ability to release things that perhaps you weren't able to release in the prior lifetime. Remembering things from your past life can actually have a throwback effect or cause you to behave in ways that you did in a prior lifetime. And the whole idea of a new life is to have an opportunity to do things in a new way.
Discuss the role of free will in a given incarnation.
You came here, whether you know it or not, with an agreement with the divine part of yourself. And that agreement is that you have free will to pick and choose how you feel in your experience. And you will choose a feeling in the way that you feel. And immediately the divine part of you that is connected right to you will receive what it is that you have sent and will derive a preference on that. So your free will basically is something that you are enacting based upon what you've lived in your past, what you've lived in the life you're living, and it also is a culmination of your lineage that plays a part in how you perceive your experience. So you cannot violate the human's free will. You cannot tell the human to feel differently than it does in its experience, because that is the agreement, that human is going to send a signal, and through that signal you are going to create a preference that you will experience in your life if you release the signal that you have sent in the love of self.
Is life on the physical plane an illusion?
Yes, I would say that your life is an illusion based upon your perception of it. Every reality that you are seeing in form, what it is that you are living, is something that you are agreeing to, something that you personally are choosing. There is no real reality other than the one that you are perceiving based upon what you have lived and how you feel in the lives that you're living. So you would agree that many people could be experiencing the same thing, however, they would feel differently about it, and then the result that they would see in their life would be different in that way. So reality is your perception. That's what creates reality.
Do we create our own realities?
Let's talk a little bit about congruency. There are many of people that decide that there's something in their life that they want, and then when they think about getting it, a lot of negative thoughts will come to them. And then they will think, I have to clean that up. I have to get rid of those. That's not productive. But really what's happening is, as you think about your desire, it's already been created. That's happened. In the divine part of you, it has culminated in an experience that you're going to be really satisfied by. But as you start thinking about that possibility, the human will actually serve up to you negative emotions that you're carrying within you that are not congruent with what you want. So an example of this would be, say you're in a marriage that you're not happy being in, but there are reasons that you've chosen it. You're staying because of the children. You're staying because you own a business together, or you don't want to leave the neighborhood or the house that you're in. But just the same, you've chosen it. But day after day, you get into fights with the mate. You continue to have negativity in response to that relationship. So you are not congruent with what you've chosen. So you either need to decide to leave the relationship so that you don't feel that way anymore, or you have to decide, why have I chosen it? I like the financial security. I like the neighborhood that I live in. I like the idea that the kids are settled there and feel good there. And then you can actually go a step further and start to decide that there might be some things about the mate that you can tolerate or that you do like. So it's all about being congruent with the choices that you make, and to look at negativity not so much as a bad thing, but more as a thing that is a signal you have created already what you want in the divine. It is waiting to flow to you. And these are the things that you are holding that are preventative of that flow reaching you. It's really important that you move to the love of self even when you are incongruent, when there are things that you are thinking and feeling that you feel are negative, that you just realize that your life experience has caused that in you, and it's okay. It's not something that you have to deny in self. It's not something that you have to change. It's something that you have to embrace as part of your life experience, and that's what actually releases it from the field and allows that natural flow to enter you.
Describe the life between lives.
There are many things that are done in between lives. There are periods of observation of others that you have been in interaction with that are living lives. There are exploratory ways or uh, opportunities, let's use that, that you can actually experience yourself in very new and different ways. So there is a multitude of things that a human has access to once they leave the plane and re-emerge back into the oneness, or what you would call the universe.
Are we judged or punished for our mistakes in the afterlife?
All of the judging and punishment you would be doing to yourself. The idea that there is something that you have lived wrong or that you are condemnable for just doesn't really exist. You're a very vulnerable, feeling human in your expression. And so to move to any type of judgment or condemnation in the way that you have felt in your experience isn't really something that is beneficial to you, and it's not necessarily beneficial to all that is either. So it's to really get the understanding that there is no reason for you to ever feel as though you have lived your life wrong, or that you need a do-over, because everything that you are living is causing expansion, and therefore you are worthy because of it.
Is there such a thing as hell?
Hell would be a contrived place or location that one perceives and believes in. There just simply isn't anything that isn't created in your belief of it.
Describe the life review.
The life review is actually you, once again, deciding how satisfied are you in the way that you lived in the experience that you're coming out of. So you would actually review your life, and the way that you felt as you reviewed your life would determine the next, what you are calling a contract or experience that you would be going into. But that would be something that, in the way that you are viewing it, in the way that you are feeling about how it is that you accomplished what it is that you accomplished in your life, in the way that you felt, whether you were satisfied in it or not. So it's never someone actually doing it to you. Once again, it is you doing it to yourself.
What is karma?
Karma is what I would call cause and effect. Everything that is felt has a cause. There's something that's caused a feeling, and then there is an effect there, from that feeling. And so as you live your life and you go out and you have experiences that maybe cause you to be angry, then the effect is going to be contact with angry people. That would be a good example. So I would look at karma as cause and effect.
How do you define forgiveness?
The best way to define forgiveness is that it really isn't necessary, that there is one thing going on here, and you are the one thing. You're creating everything in your experience based upon what you feel. If you are attracting someone into your experience that you feel you have wronged, there is a reason that they matched you. There's a reason that they have come into your experience, and it is not your fault. It's not something that you need to apologize for. You are a part of an attraction-based universe, and therefore all exchanges that you have are being had because you are matching one another.
How do you define happiness?
I would define happiness as satisfaction. And a lot of people arrive at satisfaction in different ways. There are people who have been taught to think that if they have a car in their driveway, for example, and a roof over their head, that they should be satisfied with that. But that's not necessarily true. Everybody has different desires, and everybody is allowed to have different desires. And when you've had those desires, something has been created for you in the divine because of them, and you're simply never going to be really happy or really satisfied unless you come into contact with that which you have created. And then by experiencing that, you can then decide a new preference. Maybe that's something I thought I needed was going to bring me the happiness feeling or the aligned feeling that I was looking for. But as I experienced it and I got it, I found out that it didn't actually do that for me. And now you culminate yet more experiences to come to you to try that on and try that on. And so that's how I would describe happiness. Happiness is coming into a state of true alignment through being really satisfied.
Discuss the idea of oneness/unity and how we can apply it in our everyday lives.
Oneness is describing that we all emanate from the same source, and therefore there is nothing in any human that is despicable or bad or not lovable. There is only cause and effect, things that they are experiencing that are causing them to feel in certain ways, and then there are effects because of that. And so that's basically how I would describe it, that we are all emanating from the one source of love, of which we are all a part of. And we're having different experiences, and therefore the results that we show in our life are different. You can actually apply the idea of oneness by looking at those that are mirroring results to you in the way that they make you feel. So, for example, if you are living your life and you have an employee that is very disrespectful towards you, it would give you an opportunity to look within yourself. What is it that has evoked what feeling is evoked in you as you are confronted with this person that it's treating you this way? And in that way, you will get the understanding that you are all part of one thing, and the one thing is mirroring back to you the things that you hold within yourself.
What does the belief in separation cost us?
The belief in separation actually causes us to not love ourselves. We start to condemn and judge and think that we are the jealousy, that we are the anger, that we have somehow found ourselves to be unworthy. And this is actually, we're actually creating our own separation. We can either open our field in the love of self and allow the divine flow to connect to us by being a match to us, or we can lower our tone by judging and condemning the emotions that we are experiencing in the lives that we're living.
Where is heaven?
Asking the question, where is heaven, is kind of being asked in separation, because this universe that you are part of is really all one thing that's interacting together. So you are never not connected to your source. We call earth down here and heaven up there. But I would say that the perspective of it all being one thing, that you're actually interacting with the divine part of yourself, with the human as it is expressing itself, it's one thing that is interacting with itself at the same time.
Where is God?
God is within you. That's a short answer, I know. But a lot of people think that God is something outside of self or an entity, so to speak. But it is really a life force that is flowing through you.
Many believe we're shifting to a higher consciousness on this planet. Do you agree? And if so, can you describe this shift?
Yes, we are very definitely shifting to a higher vibration on the planet. More and more people are going to be waking up. There's going to be a lot more Kundalini activations, people that are going to become awakened and become teachers and actually lead the way for others that want to be of service in humanity. And it's not leaving anyone behind. Some people think that others that maybe aren't on a spiritual path are somehow going to be shaken off or not a part of it. But when the vibration on the plane rises, it's a stimulant to everyone that's on it. And eventually all of those, even those that are not believing or not understanding what it is that is occurring, will gradually come to that understanding with no effort at all.
What's the most important thing you learned from your near death or other spiritually transformative experience?
I had what was called a Kundalini rising in my early 40s, and what happened during that time is it confirmed everything that I had been reading about, everything that I had studied, rather than just to have to take the work and believe it. I was actually able to hear the energy centers spinning. I was seeing colors. The whole experience was a confirming moment for me, and it really had a lasting effect. It was something I never forgot. It wasn't something that you would go back from. I know a lot of times when earlier on in my experience, I might be on a spiritual path and then fall away from it for a while. But once that occurred, that never happened again. It was this confirming moment that everything that I had read about, in fact, existed. I felt the power of the universe run through through my body during that experience, and really was forever changed by it.
What are some practical applications of the idea that we're eternal spiritual beings?
Some practical ways that you can improve your life as you are human is to have compassion for yourself and understanding that being in a human body and experiencing the emotions that come with it are difficult to feel, and it's not an easy process. And the more forgiving you are of yourself in what it is that you create sometimes is the best way that you can make the experience the most pleasant for yourself. The way that you feel is creating a reality, whether you know it or not. And sometimes you can't help how you feel. You want to change it, but it's something that your experience has called out in you. And so in those circumstances, you just allow that. And you just say to yourself, I know that my life experience has caused me to feel this way. And even though I'm thinking it's not a productive way to be, I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to condemn it. I'm just going to allow it. And in that way, that itself causes that release. I just want to make it completely clear that what I mean by release is when you love yourself in all ways, you become a match to your source. But if you condemn yourself in any way, you will lower your tone, and that emotion will get stuck in the center, and you will get it mirrored results of it over and over in your experience that perhaps won't be to your liking.
What's the secret to remembering who we really are?
The secret to remembering who you really are comes through gentle observation. And notice I said gentle, not harsh, not condemning, not judging. Just remembering that there's two of you, that there is you in the divine part of yourself, in full conscious awareness, observing the human who is often unconscious, in pain, in suffering. When a human moves to a negative emotion, they are not necessarily aware that they are still creating. But when you stay focused consciously and observe yourself in love, that is the divine. That's the full awareness that you're looking to allow that flow to the human and actually create the experience that you're looking to have.
What does our soul want us to know?
Your soul would like you to know that you can't do it wrong. And there is nothing ever not lovable about you, nothing unworthy about you, nothing condemnable about you. And even when you feel that way, that you are to love yourself and know that your experience has evoked or called that feeling forward, and that you're not that human that you think you are, that there is a much greater, grander, broader perspective of you that is using the human vessel for its expression. And when you come into contact with that, the emanation or what you will see as a human will reflect its source. That's why it came here. It wanted to see itself in its divine form, in human form. And so the only way that that can happen is in the love of self.
Is there a positive message or message of hope you'd like to leave us with?
The positive message I would like to leave today is I know that there is a lot of things out there on the internet where people are very concerned about what the future holds. A lot of negativity being channeled, a lot of people saying that bad things are coming. Never forget that we are the creators of the experiences, and that rather than listening to something that perhaps evokes some negativity in it, that you would use even that as a messenger for yourself. If you feel fearful, if you feel as though a lot of information is coming to you that makes you not feel good as you listen to it, then observe yourself in that and know that you're carrying some fears, and that's really the reason that you're seeing these type of broadcasts. I believe that there is a beautiful future coming from everything that I have channeled, that people are creating reality based upon how they feel. And yes, there are some changes that are occurring, but to have a positive outlook that the outcome is going to be one that we're very satisfied with.